Welcome to San Diego Energy Solutions Training and Sales Guide 5. Grid-tied solar versus off-grid solar. Most residential solar systems are grid-tied solar systems. Usually a home having solar installed is already connected to the grid. This is actually a huge benefit. If a homeowner requires more electricity than what the solar system generates, they can always pull from the grid and simply pay the utility company the rate for excessive electricity used. Plus, grid-tied solar systems do not require batteries. Off-grid solar systems. Off-grid solar systems are installed on homes that are not tied to the grid. This might sound like an attractive option on the surface, but there are many reasons why off-grid systems are not ideal for everyone. First is cost. A battery backup system is always required and can add $10,000 to $50,000 to the final cost of the system. Second, battery backup systems use old and sometimes unsafe equipment. Most are the same type of batteries found in your gas-powered vehicle, which are lead-acid batteries. Another type of battery is a wet battery. This type requires a lot of maintenance and can be quite dangerous if not handled properly. Lastly is grid reliability. There is no major benefit to having off-grid solar since the energy grid uptime is over 99%. Is off-grid ever ideal? One example of off-grid being the best solution would be when building a cabin in an extremely remote area that doesn't have access to the grid and is in a great position for a solar array. Another example would be for new construction, especially when in a remote area. This is because utility companies charge high interconnection fees just to connect the home to the grid. These interconnection fees can be as high as $30,000. A way to bypass these grid interconnection fees and power your cabin or home solely from the solar panel and battery backup system is to go off-grid. Power outages. A most common question asked by homeowners is, what happens if I have a grid-tied solar system and the power goes out? The short answer, you lose power just like everyone else. By law, solar panels are made to detect when the grid is down or off. This is to protect utility workers. Utility company employees work on power lines during outages, so if your solar panels continue to produce power during an outage and send electricity back to the grid, it would endanger the utilities workers' lives. Backup during outages. For homeowners with grid-tied solar systems who want power during an outage, there are effective solutions for a fraction of the cost of a full battery backup. Uninterrupted power supplies, UPS, are solutions for computers, servers, and other electronics that shouldn't lose power during an outage. In fact, some power strips have UPS protections built right in, providing 46 hours of reserve electricity when the power goes out. Similarly, electronic generators can be used during power outages. Phones, laptops, lights, televisions, and even refrigerators can be plugged in and powered from the electronic generator for up to 12 hours. Future battery backup technology. Companies like Tesla and Fiskar spend millions of dollars each year in research and development of better battery technologies. Lithium-ion batteries are being developed for use in electric cars and for complete home battery backups. Unfortunately, an inexpensive, efficient, safe battery backup solution doesn't exist right now. In the near future, current solar companies will be able to buy a cost-effective lithium-ion battery backup system to complement their solar array. This would enable solar customers to be completely self-sustainable without any reliance on the grid. The future of solar is right now. Regrettably, the future of battery backups is still several years away. Net metering. Most homeowners have lots of questions about how solar panels work. For example, what happens when I use electricity at night? What happens to the extra power I produce? Will my panels produce enough power during the winter? All these questions can be answered by explaining net metering. Net metering is a billing mechanism that credits solar energy systems owners for the electricity that they add to the grid. It's a relatively new development that helps make solar a great energy solution for homeowners. When solar panels are installed on a home, the homeowners also receive a new net meter. This meter monitors both energy usage and energy production. Net meters are able to spin in both directions. Energy credits. A homeowner will use the power that is generated by their solar panel during the day, but if more energy is being produced than they are using, the excess power is sent back to the grid and they receive a credit for it. At night, during stormy weather or in periods of high energy consumption, the homeowner uses the credit they have built up. Credits carry over from month to month, sort of like rollover minutes with your cell phone company. So in the winter, with shorter days and stormier weather, the homeowner may actually be using credits they built up during the summer. It is important to note that some power companies zero out any unused kilowatt-hour credits the customer has accumulated and do not pay for these credits. Usage patterns can vary slightly from year to year. Since the homeowner usually doesn't benefit at the end of the year for overproducing, systems are sized to replace about 90% of a home's annual electricity usage, which most homes have space for on their roof. This ensures that they are not giving free power to the utility company. Again, electricity usage patterns are unique to each home, and only way to accurately size a solar array is to look at a year's worth of power bills. Tiered rates. Many power companies have a tiered rate schedule, meaning you're charged a different rate depending on how much electricity you use in a month. An example is the Rocky Mountain Power's residential rate schedule as of October 2012. Obviously, prices have increased since then. From May to September, there are 3 tiers. Tier 1, up to 400 kilowatt hours, is 8.6 cents. Tier 2, the next 600 kilowatt hours are 11.2 cents. And Tier 3, every kilowatt hour over 1,000 is 14 cents. From October to April, there are only 2 tiers. This exemplifies how much prices are going up, but also how expensive electricity can be if you use a lot in a particular month. There are dozens of utility companies in every state. Not all utility companies operate on a tiered structure. Some use a fixed price per kilowatt hour, and some have a fixed price per kilowatt hour that changes whether it's summer or winter. Most utility companies have a customer charge that you're obligated to pay whether you're a traditional customer or not. Even if you have 100% solar replacement, you still have to pay a monthly charge of $5 to $10, maybe $15. For solar customers, this is sometimes referred to as a net metering charge. Benefits for solar customers with tiered rates. If a homeowner has less than 100% solar replacement, the net charge to the utility company will usually stay in the first tier, an added benefit. For example, if a home uses 1,500 kilowatt hours in July and we're paying the utility company, they would have charges in all 3 tiers. However, if they had 90% replacement from solar in that month, their system would produce only 1,350 kilowatt hours, and they would only pay the utility company for 150 kilowatt hours, in all charged in Tier 1 at 8.6 cents. For solar customers, this means that any net charges to the utility company are charged at the lowest possible rate. This is an additional savings and usually not reflected in solar savings projections. Utility payback. As we discussed in net metering, it is possible to build up additional credits that carry over to the next month. Regularly, the question will come up, is it possible to sell these credits back to the utility company? The answer, it depends on the utility company. Spare credits. It's important to understand that the credit a solar company accumulates do not carry over forever. However, many of the smaller utility companies will pay customers for any extra credits they have built up throughout the year. Each utility pays a different amount for these credits. Some utilities will give the customer the retail rate for them, others will only give the wholesale rate. Generally, the customer gets anywhere from 6 to 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Notice that this is less than the 11 cents the customer often pays to the grid. This is because the customer buys the additional taxes on the power too, so it's not as profitable to sell back power as it is to replace usage. Can I make money selling back power? This is a difficult question to answer because it depends on how much power the customer uses versus how much they produce. If a customer gets their power from a smaller utility company, they may benefit from purchasing a larger solar system so that they can sell the extra power back to that utility company. Often the customer will want to know exactly how much money they can make by selling back the power. This amount can vary greatly based on the homeowner's behavior, weather patterns, and numerous other factors. We can closely predict how many kilowatt hours our systems will produce in a year. Yet, in this case, it is best to simply tell the homeowner what rates their utility will pay for extra kilowatt hours and let them do the math. Let the office know if you have a customer in this situation, and we can look up how much their utility will pay for extra power. That concludes this tutorial.